Hey guys, so this tier list refers to post KMS Destiny update, which includes a big balance update for all of the classes and Explorers revamp. It will arrive to global Maplestory in June. Basically a lot changed, and this update has a huge impact on the future of Maplestory and all of the classes. It was kinda unique, a lot of classes got huge buffs and none of them got nerfed, so it's Nexon's new way to keep the game balanced. Maplestory is kinda balanced right now, there are no bad classes, each class has their own pros and cons, and the gap between overpowered and weak classes got smaller in this update, which is great. And one last note, Edranova bind cooldown got reduced to 2 minutes, so binds aren't unique to a certain classes anymore, everyone has them now. So before we dive in, just reminding once again, this list refers to post Destiny update. It's not on global Maplestory yet, but it will be, and this is the future of each class. Okay, so let's start with the non-KMS classes. We can't know what's coming for Hayato, Jet, Kana and Beast Tamer, because Korean Maplestory doesn't have them, but every time there's a big update, Nexon is updating these classes as well. So, Kana's Kishin spawn booster effect is getting removed, but I think they'll receive big damage buffs instead to make up for it, and it will remain the best support class in the game because of domain. And even without Kishin, Kana is still one of the best farmers, and every party needs a Kana, so I have to put it in SS tier. Alright, Hayato right now is an S tier class. I can't really know or judge which buff it will get, but I'm pretty sure Hayato's will receive some buffs, so let's keep it in S tier for now. And the same goes for Jet. Right now it's between S to A tiers, but I'm pretty sure Nexon will buff it. Once a year Jet is getting Giga buffed and then remained untouched for a long time. So yeah, they will buff it for sure. And yep, all of this also relates to Beast Tamer. I would say right now it's between A to B tiers, but I'll put it in A because the mobbing is so good, and I'm sure Nexon will buff it when Destiny update arrives. Alright, now is the real juice. Let's start with the newest class, Lara. So Lara got some great buffs in this update. Lara mobbing is SS tier, but the bossing is probably B tier, especially post Destiny where most classes got buffed hard, so I guess I'll put Lara in A tier. Kain. Okay, Kain off-burst damage got really pumped in Destiny, which is good because Kain was a pure burst class and the off-burst was kinda bad, so it's better now in this aspect. I'll put Kain in A tier. It's a pretty nice and balanced class. I love Kain's theme, so yeah, A tier. Kadena. So Kadena is an SS tier class. The DPS is insane, but it comes with a price. It's pretty hard to play, it's a combo class, not my thing. A lot of keyboard smashing, and playing this class can be uncomfortable, but again the DPS makes up for it, it's super strong. So that's an SS tier. Thunderbreaker. Okay, so this is one of the biggest winners of the update. Thunderbreakers is playable and mainable again. The link between each Thunderbreaker skill is smoother now and without a long delay. So the combos are great again, like before the nerf, if you guys remember. It will be crazy in global Maplestory because we have a faster speed attack than KMS, so before the update it was a D tier, kinda unmainable, and it jumped to A tier, so you guys can see the difference. Alright, you know, Pathfinders got some decent buffs in the update, nothing huge but still nice small buffs. It's an amazing mobber, really easy to play, really good consistent damage. In KMS it's S tier, but because here in global Maplestory Hurricane classes aren't affected by green potion, it's an A tier class. All of the non-Hurricane classes has a big advantage here. Hwoyang. So Hwoyang kinda remained untouched after a lot of small nerfs. As I said, no class got nerfed in this update. Hoyang burst is crazy, it's one of the best bursts in the game, the mobbing is also pretty crazy, and the off burst damage is pretty good. So it's an S tier class. In my last tier list video, like 7 months ago, it was an SS tier. So there we go, again you guys can see the difference already. Blaze Wizard. Okay, we got our first B tier class. Again, there isn't a bad class, but in terms of DPS, mobbing and bossing, some classes are just better than others. Blaze Wizard definitely needs a buff or a rework. Cygnus revamp is in a few months, so we'll see what happens. Ivan. Okay, so Ivan is A tier. Their burst got a small buff in this update, and not too long ago they received the 20% final damage buff. It's a good class. The late game mobbing is great, the burst is pretty good, so that's an A tier. Ice Lightning. Alright, Ice Lightning got great buffs in the revamp, especially mobbing ones, better summons and a better Chain Lightning. It's surprisingly an SS tier class post revamp. It's probably the best mobber in the game, and the burst is just crazy. Also the DPS is amazing, the burst is a low cooldown one. To be honest, it's 100% overpowered, so yep, that's an SS tier. Okay, so Battle Mage is an A tier. It really shines against certain bosses and kind of falls against others, but it's a great class, good mobbing, really nice burst, amazing party buffs and fun mobility. They keep getting buffed every update, including this one. They just got another 15% final damage, so that's definitely an A tier. Kaiser is a solid DPS class with the best mobbing among the warrior classes. They got a 12% final damage buff in the update. It's a great class. Honestly, I'm not sure if to put it in S tier or A tier, but I'll go with A, just cause Maple is burst meta right now and Kaiser is a DPS class, not a bursty one. Dark Knight, one of my favorite classes, really fun to play with the low cooldown skills. So in the revamp they got massive buffs, a better version of the burst, better mobbing, even more survivability, and a lot of quality of life changes. It's a really comfy class to play. Basically, when you're playing this class you can just ignore the boss mechanics, because the survivability is just overpowered, it's insane. The DPS and the burst are both amazing. The mobbing isn't that bad anymore, so that's an easy S tier. Marksman. Okay, sadly it's a B tier. Marksman revamp for me personally was a big disappointment. I was expecting a full rework or something to actually change, but it wasn't the case. They did get some great mobbing buffs, but the mobbing is still kinda bad. Bossing wise, the damage is pretty good with kinda bad survivability, but I don't know, I was expecting way more. Personally, if I was a marksman, I would easily switch to Bowmaster. Cannon Master. Alright, Cannon Master revamp was really nice. They are way more bursty now. It gave them a big damage spike because now they can fit all of the huge cannonballs into one Ozring burst. And by the way, that's the class with the most lines in Maplestory. That's a true line story class. So both mobbing and bossing are great. Really good mobility, great survivability as well, frequent iframes. So all of that leads me to being unsure if it's an S tier or an A tier, but I think I'll go with S tier. Down Warrior. So Down Warriors are amazing. They got nice buffs in the update, a 10% final damage buff and a new iframe. They have a good mobbing, really nice burst and bossing. They also have a nice party buffs, so that's an S tier class. Their damage is just great. Wind Archer. A tier. They got a 10% final damage buff in the update and a big buff to one of their 5th job skills. Overall it's a really nice class. Solid, consistent DPS, nice mobility and survivability, pretty good mobbing and bossing. So yeah, it fits in A tier. Adele. Okay, so Adele didn't get anything in the update. Nexon are not touching Adele on purpose. She was super overpowered pre-Destiny, but now basically all of the classes got buffed besides Adele, Ark and Hoyang. So that's Nexon's way to keep the game balanced, just buffing others instead of nerfing the strong ones. So it dropped from SS tier to S tier. Obviously it's still a great class, amazing mobbing and bossing. So yep, S tier. Phantom. Okay, so I was sad to see that Nexons put Phantoms into the same category with Adele, Oyang and Arc. Phantom didn't receive any buffs in the update. I honestly think they're a bit outdated. It's not fair that stronger classes got huge buffs in this update and Phantom didn't get anything. It's B tier, the DPS is okay kinda, but it definitely needs a buff. I would love to see a Phantom revamp or a nice pump to the burst skill. I really think it's needed. Alright, Bishop. And we got ourselves another SS tier, the best support class in the game besides Kana, with a better DPS compared to DPS classes. Can you imagine? So that's like these tank roles in MOBA games where the tank is also the damage carry. Bishops are overpowered now. There are vids of 30k stats bishops soloing hard Demian. They have an amazing DPS and burst right next to the support kit, so they can enjoy both worlds. It's comparable to Kana now and even better in terms of DPS, so yep, SS tier. Arc. Just like Adele, Arc remained untouched. Nexon are well aware of how good Arc is and they're not touching him on purpose. It's an S tier class, one of the best bursts, probably top 3. Really good mobbing and survivability. I honestly think Nexon should change Arc burst cooldowns, because right now their cooldowns aren't syncing with the current bind and burst meta. Basically they need to make it a 3 minutes class instead of 4 minutes and nerf the burst a little. Then it would sync up with the 3 minutes domain plus bind burst meta, and Arc would be more enjoyable and have better damage cycles. AB. Okay, so Angelic Buster was nerfed to the ground like 2 years ago, and finally in this update this class made a recovery. It's actually great again. Their main attacking skill is way faster now and less clunky to use. They got a lot of buffs. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Demon Slayer. Alright, DC always was overpowered and probably always will be. Easy S tier. In this update they got a 5% final damage buff, and their 5th job heavy burst skill, Demon's Bane, got buffed pretty nicely. Overall an amazing class, overpowered in all aspects, iframes, bossing and mobbing. Helium. Wow, this class gives me AIDS. I can't stand it. It's so annoying to play, but that's my personal opinion. Overall, it's a strong class, again, super annoying in my opinion, but the DPS and mobbing are good, the burst is great, so I have to put it in A tier. Shade. So I think Shade should be in A tier. They got a 5% final damage buff in the update, and a small damage buff to one of their skills. It's not much compared to others. Overall it's a great class, amazing mobbing, a nice burst, really nice class aesthetics like visually wise, and a nice party buff, the split thingy. So yeah, A tier. Nightlord. Okay, so we finally got to the most overpowered class in Maplestory currently. With the Edra Nova bind cooldown reduction, Nightlords don't even need to wait for the bind cooldowns now. They can just bind burst every time their burst is up. And guess what? Their burst is the most overpowered in the game by far. So these bind changes are massive for Nightlords. In the revamp they got a new survivability skill, which helps a lot, and they have Dark Sight, which is almost a fucking toggle iframe. Their mobbing got huge buffs in the revamp, so this class is just not fair. It's good in every aspect. For example, if you take a 50k stats Nightlord and a Buccaneer and tell them to solo Chaos Gloom, the Nightlord will take 10 minutes while the Buccaneer will take around 20 minutes. So that's the gap between Nightlord and other classes, especially in late game when you have Woz rings. So yeah, it's overpowered, easily SS tier. Okay, Aaron. Aaron damage is really high, the bossing is amazing, one of the best, especially in global Maplestory speed attack. That's an S tier class. The mobbing is kinda annoying. You actually need to focus and be effective when you grind. And it's a combo class, so it's not chill to play. But if those things doesn't bother you, it's an amazing class. They got a lot of final damage buffs in the update, so post Destiny they're even stronger. So yeah, S tier mechanic. So mechanic burst is amazing, really nice DPS and low cooldown skills, kinda underrated. The mobbing is great till Cernium, where you can't one-hit mobs with the missiles. Mechanics also have a 15% final damage buff to the party. Overall it's a great class, but it does feel a bit heavy and clunky to play. It's probably A tier. Alright, Dual Blade, also one of my favorite classes. It's really fun to play. I love the low cooldown skills. Post revamp, it's kinda overpowered. Dual Blade's burst got pumped massively, and it's actually a great burst now, even though it's only a 90 seconds cooldown burst, which is crazy. The survivability is amazing, the off burst damage is insane, and the mobbing got buffed in the update as well. So that's an easy S tier. I would even say it could fit in SS tier, but let's go with S. Buccaneer, woo! Buck, my main class. I'm happy to say Buck doesn't suck anymore. We got around 30% final damage buff in the revamp, 2 new auto proc DPS skills, removal of the abusive outdated energy system, and a new mobbing skill in addition to Lord of the Deep, and a lot of burst buffs. And Buck is still the class with the best mobility in the game, with insane consistent damage. It's a really fun class. For me personally, that's the most fun class in the game. I have to put it in A tier. Both mobbing and bossing are good, they're average, nothing too special, so sadly it doesn't deserve to be in S tier, but it's definitely an A tier. Mihil, A tier, great DPS, a lot of consistent damage, okay mobbing, and great party support skills. Hero. Okay, so Hero got some really nice buffs in the revamp, about 10% final damage overall, and a lot of quality of life changes and mobbing buffs. Definitely S tier. It's a really strong class with amazing bossing kit. It's one of the best bossers in the game. Demon Avenger. So Demon Avengers got like 50% final damage in the update. That's insane. Almost a full revamp, just like the Explorers. A lot changed for them. They went from a troll class that's kinda unmainable to an okay class. I recently made a video about it. You guys can see how it looks like now. A bit surprising actually, a lot of lines. So anyways, this buff takes Demon Avenger on a right direction, but they still need more buffs for sure. B tier. Bowmaster. Whoa, so Bowmaster revamp was great. They got a lot of buffs. I would even say it's the class with the best consistent DPS post Destiny, besides Fire Poison. We will get to Fire Poison in a few minutes. You guys can see the full Bowmaster revamp details in my channel's homepage. So yeah, it's a great class. DPM wise, they spiked to the top 10, which is amazing. I'm not sure if it deserves to be in A tier or S tiers, but fuck it, I'ma go with S tier. Corsair. Okay, so Corsair revamp was highly needed. They got huge buffs, which brought them to the top 3 in DPM. Overbuffing their skill headshot was a certain way to balance the class and make up for the messy off-burst damage. Basically all of their DPS skills got buffed, so they enjoy an amazing burst and a great off-burst damage now, with a really nice mobbing and survivability. S tier. Kinesis. Wow, I think they got around 30% final damage buff in the update, tons of damage buffs. This class is really strong, the DPS is crazy, one of the best. If I'm not sure it's an A tier or maybe S tier, it could fit in both, but I'll go with A tier. Blaster. Okay, so Blaster DPM and damage are just incredible. This class is definitely overpowered in terms of DPS, but it comes with a big price and Nexon knows it. It was designed this way. Playing this class is super hard. You gotta weave when you DPS and basically you gotta press on like 20 hotkeys a second. It's really try hard. It's a high effort, high reward class. It's totally worth it if you don't mind weaving when you play. It's not for me at all. Playing this class for 2 days gave me some serious finger pains, and like for real, if you main this class, there's a big chance you'll end up with arthritis or legit finger pains or even carpal tunnel syndrome. So again, it's not for me, but it was designed this way. This class DPS is exceptionally good because of this reason, so I'll draw it in S tier. Shadower. So Shadowers got huge buffs in the revamp, a better burst and more DPS, a lot of quality of life changes and final damage buffs, one of the best in terms of DPS, with really high bursty intervals. Nexon kinda overbuffed it. It was already strong and they just gave it tons of buffs. I want you guys to look for a sec how Shadowers off burst looks like now. That's how the DPS looks like. That's insane. So yeah, that's an SS tier class. It's overpowered compared to other classes, with a really good survivability and mobbing. So it's gotta be in SS. Lumi. Alright, Luminous got really nice buffs as well. A lot of damage percent buffs to the skills. They are great, amazing mobbing and good bossing. Pretty decent burst and great off burst damage. I'll put Lumi in A tier. So Xenon got huge buffs, 15% final damage buff, and a new passive that helps them convert Star Force into stats, and some 5th job skills cooldown reduction. And not too long ago, like 2 or 3 months ago before Destiny, they also got final damage buffs. So this class is super strong now. The burst is amazing, really good mobbing and great off burst damage, so that's an S tier. Fire Poison Mage, and we got our last SS tier class. Fire Poison damage is just crazy. It's a cracked class. They have higher DPM and damage than Blaster and Kadenas without the price of being hard to play and being a cancer combo class. I think few days ago KMS had their first Mulong Dojo stage 80 clear, and of course it was a fire poison. So yeah, they got a lot of buffs. They are overpowered now. As you guys can see, Nexon loves Explorer Mages and Thieves. Kinda sad. Nightwalker. Alright, so Nightwalker's got a 5% final damage buff and some cooldown changes to make them more effective. Overall, one of the best bossers in the game. The mobbing is pretty good. Their survivability is a bit problematic. There's only one iframe, but the crazy DPS makes up for it. S tier for sure. Zero. Okay, so Zero's got some small buffs in the update, some final damage buffs and crit rate bonus. They still need a damage boost. DPS wise, they're a bit behind, but it's a great class, a good mobber, and their binds can be really helpful, so I'll put them in B tier. Paladin. Alrighty, so that's an S tier. Paladin revamp was really beneficial for Paladins. A lot of quality of life changes and removal of outdated stuff. New theme, a holy theme, a really big boost to the burst and to the overall damage. It's an amazing class, longest iframe in the game I think. Their burst is insane now, the mobbing is pretty good, and the overall damage and off burst damage are great, so that's an S tier. Let's see, Wild Hunter. Well, this class also got great buffs, 10% final damage buff, a new mobbing skill, and a nice damage buff to the burst. Overall, Wild Hunters are amazing, really good burst, nice off burst damage, great mobbing, great mobility, and great party buffs, so that's an easy A tier, maybe it could even fit in S. Okay, Mercedes. So Mercedes got huge buffs in the update. Their burst is like a fucking machine gun now. Looks amazing. It's a super strong bosser. Again, there's a certain price for the good damage. It's a combo class, so it can be a bit hard to play, and the mobbing is bad and annoying in my opinion, but the crazy bossing damage and burst makes up for it. That's an S tier class. So there we have it for post Destiny classes tier list. This vid took more than 15 hours to make, writing a script and recording everything. A lot of times I have to re-record stuff because of my accent or me not being understandable enough and more, and then edit the whole thing, so it was a lot of work. If you guys enjoyed it, please subscribe for more Maplestory content. Comments and likes are much appreciated, they help the algorithm. Thanks for watching, thank you so much, and see you next time.